that is, of course, Lionel Messi leading Argentina to the World Cup. And when you speak of Messi and when you speak of the World Cup, you obviously go to Shaka because years you've been saying he'll be never considered the greatest unless he wins the World Cup. I asked you in Qatar and you said, give me time. Let me come back now.
As of right now, yes.
Wow, Shaq.
I think given his entire body of work, particularly at club level, and then I think you saw a level of leadership from him during the course of this World Cup. We've always known how good a player he is, but I think you've seen a level of leadership from him that I am happy to succumb to your pressures, Dan.
Not my pressure.
Your pressures, Dan. You're the one who always asking me every single time. Every time I open my left eye, you're there asking me the same old question.
That's only once a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Come into yourself.
What do you mean? I was on your right side.
No, you put me under pressure, and I've folded to the peer pressure.
Right.
And I go with yes.
Yes.
That's why we sent you to Qatar.
There you go.
To see greatness unfolding.
I see
not
greatness
not that you saw it
every day. I see greatness here.
No, I don't know. I changed my mind about this because I don't deny what this guy's done and how he's gone about it. But then you listen to other people, and I often defer to other people.
Who have you been listening to?
No, but I see people talking about Pele and Maradona in different times, in different eras, and then I've been reminded about some video, particularly with Maradona, when it's downright assault when he's on the field.
Right.
And it is very difficult to have comparisons of eras. There's no doubt what he's done in his era is way and above probably something we'll never see again. So I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting bogged down in this. I don't really care.
I think the thing is, it's just for how long Messi has done it. I think Maradona, just in terms of pure leadership, is a better leader than Lionel Messi. I think at the absolute best, for a short spell, Brazilian Ronaldo is arguably the most impactful of the top four, in my opinion. You cannot underscore Pele's importance to the game. And as much as people are talking about, well, Pele only played in Brazil, he was a national icon, unprotected, in kind of the same way that Mbappe is with France right now. But as the game has evolved, it's clearly evolved for strikers, to benefit strikers. And so it's to Craig's point, it's an unfair comparison, but just given that body of work at the level that he's played at, I'm happy to see Lionel Messi.
Jan, what's your two pennies on all of this?
Well, it's interesting to listen to this discussion. I know the history of Shaka Hislop changing his mind all the time, so there's going to be a long minutes we are sitting here, so we were not sure about the thing. But listen, it's the only thing a player can do, the only thing a human being can do is to be best in his time. I mean, how can you compare Pelé with 58, 62, 70? They said there was the best team ever who will win the World Cup. And sometimes when we have these discussions, it comes down to taste, because you can't say anything about facts, can you? Because Erik Wurm, nobody knows him, and he's a German who won the World Cup. I mean, so if you're going to decide it, Muani, 1 minute before the end, he can make France world champion. Does that mean that Shaka Hislop would say Messi is not the best player ever? So I think that discussion is hard, but I understand the script. I understand the Hollywood kind of thing to it. You have to win the World Cup to be the greatest. And yes, I'm tempted to say that about Messi as well. But listen, Pelé won it 3 times. And the thing with Diego Maradona, talking about Hollywood, Diego Maradona is God. Diego Maradona is all a part of his winning, his abilities, but also the tragedy of Diego Armando Maradona. So there's so much into this. But so I wouldn't say that Messi is the greatest. He is absolutely one of the greatest.
Is this a special angle we're getting today of you, Jan? Is the 45 degree up the nostrils angle just for Christmas? Wow. I mean, that's like not what I was, not the kind of present I was hoping for.
I will tell you, Craig, why I'm sitting here and not in my usual, because my parents are actually sleeping there now.
It's always
bless.
his mum and dad. He blames his...
Yeah, always blames mum and dad. Jules has got his top on now. Jules?
That was not a pretty sight.
It was quite the sight, wasn't it, for us all?
It was a pretty sight, right?
Jules, greatest of all time?
Just don't be jealous of my upper body. Yeah, I think, but to be fair, I thought he was the GOAT before Sunday and before the World Cup final, even if he hadn't won it. I think the consistency, and Shaka and I discussed it for quite a while when we were together in Qatar, the not just the longevity, but also the consistency over those 16, 17 years that he played at the top level. You can't score 91 goals in a calendar year if you're not the GOAT. It's impossible. And you add 45 assists or something like that as well. This is just, the numbers are mind-blowing, the trophies are mind-blowing, the way he plays is mind-blowing, the dribbling is mind-blowing, everything, and to still do it at 35 is incredible. So you might prefer Maradona for the edge that he had and the personality that he had that is very different to Messi's. You might prefer Pelé because Pelé, I think, invented a lot of the technical skills that we see a lot of players do now, including Leo. But overall, I think they're just no greater than Leo Messi.
Yeah, and you haven't given us an unbelievable yet when describing Messi.
It's just unbelievable to see the upper body of this Jules.
There it is.
Don't ask me that question again.
OK, all right, we'll move on from Messi.
I mean, never.
By the way,
That's
my boy.
Right.
That's the kind of attitude on Christmas.
What's interesting is that you made quite a sweeping statement a couple of days ago when we were talking about the World Cup. You were like, it was the best ever. Like,
yeah.
But why?
I think that there were a lot of aspects to it. First of all, I thought the football was incredible. The final was certainly the cherry on the top of that cake, and kind of summed up everything about the tournament. From Morocco's deep run and how it captured the imagination of everybody there in Doha, the Arab nations, the African nations. Again, even going into the final and the discussions around history being made with Lionel Messi, or will it be France repeating, Kylian Mbappe scoring a hat-trick in the final in a losing effort, so much of it. And then even as you go back to the group stage and we have these discussions, on the final day of all the group stage...
Yeah, that was crazy.
I think the German group, I can't remember who was it, Germany, Spain...
Japan.
On that final day, at different times during the 90 minutes, all four teams could have gone through to the knockout. I mean, and then you were sitting there counting yellow cards and that kind of drama. I don't recall that kind of drama, even in a group stage in a World Cup tournament.
We know you had the VCR of 1982 World Cup, Craig.
Which you've lost.
Which you've lost.
Yeah.
What would you play it on?
No, I don't want to play it. I just want to have it.
All right, OK.
Yeah.
Does it
I used to watch it as a kid all the time.
Does it surpass that?
I don't know. I can't remember. I just enjoyed that as a kid because it was Socrates and Maradona as a youngster.
Yeah.
Being sent off in that Argentina-Brazil game, which Brazil won 3-2. The Batistong-Schumacher challenge, which was a disgrace. Franz Smith going out in a penalty shootout. Bossé Smith. There was so many. Tardelli's great celebration. I'm not saying that was the greatest World Cup because we also had, I believe that was the World Cup, we had West Germany, Algeria playing out, you'll not know this, playing out a bit of a...
Right, that was when we both go
brown
through,
envelope brigade, sort of... Yeah, let's just make sure we're both going through.
Right.
But that's just what I remember.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this World Cup.
Yeah.
Out with all the side story about where it was and the problems within the country and that area. I enjoyed the football. I enjoyed the excitement of it. As Shaka mentioned, there was a couple of damp squibs here and there, but as a generalisation, it was the kind of tournament where you go, oh, why would we want to change this?
Right.
But we're FIFA, so we're going to change things
gonna add
anyway.
more
We're already
people.
going to pre-do that, and we're going to change it anyway. And it was staring you in the face that actually this was pretty good.
Jan, as Shaka mentioned, you know, it all started almost at the group stages, where that last round of matches, where traditionally, you know, there are dead rubbers. It's about who's going to finish first and second. There seemed to be so much at stake for every game.
Yeah, I think this World Cup was fantastic. I'm a bit older than you guys, so I remember the World Cup final of '74. That's my first recollection of a football game. I remember Johan Cruyff and all that kind of stuff. But I'm with Craig. With '82 was great. '78 was good with Mario Kempes and the Buenos Aires World Cup. But what I liked at this World Cup, I like the passion. I like the passion of all the teams. I like that the teams who were not passionate, they were punished and sent home. For example, Germany. I like that. I like that we had. There was the revival of the striker. I mean, symbolized with Weghorst when he came on against Argentina. Even Messi came out of his shell and kind of criticizing Weghorst while he was doing an interview. And I also like that all the team who should never play the ball out from the back got punished straight away. I love that. And this was a World Cup, like you guys were saying. I've never seen all games at the World Cup before. This time I did. I saw every game. And there was no game, well, there was a game that were more boring than others, but there was no game that didn't give me anything. There was all games giving me some things. And as Shaka was saying, when we start counting yellow cards, and we had to call around to find out if they're going to be a draw, will that be in the bathroom or Infantino? Or where will they do it? Who will do it? It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He's working for Austrian TV because there's no Austrians available.
No. yes, that's true.
That's the Austria that you thought were in Scandinavia.
There we go. Waiting for that to be brought up. It's taking you a couple of days.
What's that?
It's taking you a couple of days to bring that back up. I thought that was going to be a day.
A man that went to university thought Austria was
I didn't do geography, did I?
Huh?
Didn't do geography.
Clearly.
No, exactly.
You were thrown out of the class.
Jules.
Whoa. Van Gaal dancing with a phone.
Oh, yeah, the dad dance. That was brilliant.
Bear in mind, you might be a Van Gaal fan or not, and he has over the years portrayed himself as this arrogant, sort of cocky.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind what he's been through with the illness and all that sort of thing, I think there was a softer side to him for sure.
Yes.
And I just thought that was fun.
Yes.
Him coming in and the hotel staff.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was very good, very good. But really, the icing on the cake and the match will be remembered, Jules,
England
will be the final.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, as we said before, as sad as it is for us, the French, it was an incredible final, the greatest final ever, of course, the most dramatic one, with everything that happened, which in a way, like Shaka said, was the perfect ending to what was an amazing World Cup, the most goals ever scored, all those records, whether it was for your own country, like Giroud and Lloris for us, but Leo Messi beating Matao's record of the most games, Cristiano scoring in his 5th World Cup, Messi scoring in every single round of the World Cup as well, which he's not the first one to do, but at least for him there was the last 16 round, which the others who did it didn't have the last 16 rounds, for example. So all those records, all the goals, all the drama, all the twist, all the upset, and also the fact that it seems certainly that other continents are bridging the gap with Europe and South America to some extent. We saw the 5 African teams winning at least a game, and obviously Senegal and Morocco progressing to the next round. We saw South Korea and Japan also beating and creating upsets and defying the odds and qualifying for the last 16. Even if he stopped there, Japan still knocked out Germany. We saw Belgium going early as well. So all of that, I think, made that competition, like the boys said, maybe the best ever.
And a lot more. If I may say, Dan, I think one of the highlights for me was also when we saw different cultures. I talk now as we as Europeans, when we saw the Morocco players dancing with their mothers, took them pitch side. I think that was fantastic. That's what World Cup is. And I'm with Jules. When you see all these teams improving, progressing, they have a goal. Morocco, the way they played against France in the semi-final, I mean, unbelievable. And the way they even at that final semi-final played out from the back and succeeded doing that. So there were so many highlights of this World Cup.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.